Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Justin. Before I get started, I just wanted to thank you guys for making me a part of your day. So, today we're going to be talking about a few things that I wish I knew when I was first diagnosed with alopecia areata. If I could go back to the day that I found my very first bald spot, there's a handful of things I would have told myself that would have saved me a lot of anxiety, a lot of false hope, and honestly, a lot of wasted money. So, if you were just diagnosed with alopecia areata, this is the video I wish somebody had made for me. The first thing I wish I knew is this: it's not your fault. You didn't do anything to cause this. The underlying predisposition was already there. It just happened to show up now. Alopecia areata is an autoimmune condition. That means your immune system mistakenly attacks your hair follicles. One comparison I like to make is arthritis. Think about somebody who has arthritis. Some days it's painful, some days they barely notice it. They still have arthritis either way. Alopecia areata is very similar. Some people go years with full hair, and then one day they have another flare up. Other people struggle with it much more often. The frustrating part is that nobody can tell you exactly how your immune system is going to behave. That's just the reality of autoimmune diseases. The second thing I wish I knew was don't freak out and don't believe everything you read online. The second you find that first bald spot, you're going to want to fix it. You're going to Google everything. You're going to end up on Reddit. You're going to watch YouTube videos. You're going to read about miracle supplements, miracle shampoos, miracle diets, miracle oils. And everybody is going to swear they found the cure. Here's what I've learned after dealing with alopecia areata for over 40 years. Lowering your stress is good for you. Getting enough sleep is good for you. Eating healthier is good for you. Exercising is good for you. I would recommend all of those things, whether you have alopecia areata or not. But don't fall into the trap of thinking that reducing your stress is going to magically cure your alopecia. Stress can absolutely make flare ups worse for some people, but reducing stress doesn't mean your alopecia areata is going to disappear. I've tried more supplements than I can even remember. Some of them probably helped my overall health. Most of them did absolutely nothing for my alopecia. Another question I get all the time is about Rogaine. Rogaine can help stimulate hair growth, but it doesn't stop your immune system from attacking the hair follicle. That's a really important distinction. Think of it this way: Rogaine is helping the hair grow, but it's not fixing the reason your immune system is attacking it in the first place. The biggest lesson I learned is to be very skeptical of anyone selling a miracle cure. If someone tells you they can cure alopecia areata with one vitamin, one shampoo, one diet, or one supplement, I'd be very careful. Treatments have come a long way, but as of today, there still isn't a cure. The goal right now is managing the condition, not pretending it doesn't exist. The third thing I wish I knew was see a dermatologist sooner rather than later. Looking back, this is probably the biggest mistake I made. I spent years hoping it would just go away on its own. I spent years trying random things I found online. And because my hair would sometimes grow back by itself, I'd convinced myself that whatever I had just tried must have worked. The truth is, alopecia areata can be incredibly unpredictable. Some people lose one small patch and never have another episode. Other people have flare ups every few years. Some people lose all of their scalp hair. Others lose their eyebrows, eyelashes, or even all the hair on their body. There isn't one version of alopecia areata. That's why getting evaluated by a dermatologist is so important. They can confirm whether it actually is alopecia areata, rule out other causes of hair loss, and talk to you about treatments that make sense for your situation. When I was younger, the main treatment I received was steroid injections. They weren't exactly something I looked forward to, but they often worked. As the years went on, I also tried steroid creams, topical treatments, DPCP, and just about everything else my dermatologist thought might help. Some treatments worked better than others. Some worked for a while and then stopped. That's unfortunately part of living with this condition. But here's the important part. Every one of those decisions was made with a medical professional, not because someone on the internet promised they'd found the cure. The fourth thing I wish I knew was that we're living in the best time ever for treating alopecia areata. When I was first diagnosed, our options were pretty limited. Steroid injections could help, steroid creams sometimes helped, DPCP worked for some people, But for many of us, it often felt like we were just hoping something would work. Today, that's starting to change. One of the biggest breakthroughs has been a newer class of medications called JAK inhibitors. Without getting too technical, these medications work by interrupting the immune signals that tell your body to attack the hair follicle. In other words, instead of simply trying to grow hair, they're helping address the autoimmune process that's causing the hair loss in the first place. That's a huge difference. Now, these medications aren't for everyone. They have potential side effects, they require blood work, they're prescription medications that should be discussed with your dermatologist. But for many people with more extensive alopecia areata, they've completely changed what's possible. For me, that medication was Litfulo. After decades of trying different treatments, Litfulo has given me the best results I've ever had. I've had significant regrowth on my scalp, my eyebrows came back, and for the first time in a very long time, I finally felt like my immune system had stopped fighting me quite so hard. Does that mean I'm cured? No. If I stop treatment, there's always the possibility my alopecia could come back. That's the reality of living with an autoimmune disease. But having treatments like this available today gives people something I didn't have for most of my life: real options. The last thing I wish I knew is that life doesn't stop because you have alopecia areata. I know it doesn't feel that way in the beginning, especially when you're staring at that first bald spot. It feels like everybody is going to notice. It feels like everybody is going to judge you. It feels like your life is never going to be the same. But after living with this condition for more than 40 years, I've realized something. Alopecia has been part of my life, but it has never defined my life. I've gone to school, I've built a career, I've coached sports, I've traveled the world, I've made lifelong friends, I've had relationships, I've done things I never thought I'd be capable of when I was younger and terrified about losing my hair. Does alopecia still frustrate me sometimes? Absolutely. Every day I consider myself fortunate that my treatment is working. I also know that tomorrow could be different. That's the reality of living with an autoimmune disease. But fear doesn't get to make my decisions anymore. And I hope one day it won't make yours either. Honestly, that's why I started this channel. I wanted to create the videos that I wish had existed when I was first diagnosed. Honest videos, realistic videos, videos that explain what's happening, what the treatments are, and what living with alopecia areata is actually like. If you're just starting this journey, you're not alone. And while there still isn't a cure, there is more hope today than there has ever been. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.